In 2022, the Labour Party achieved a level of dominance in London that wiped out decades of Conservative control. From Westminster to Barnet, the capital's political map was painted almost entirely red. This chart shows those gains under threat. Polling models from YouGov and the LSE project a 15-point drop in Labour's capital support, while smaller parties surge. Some models even project the party collapsing from first to fourth place citywide. Nowhere is the symbolism of this shift more acute than in Camden. This borough is the political home of Prime Minister Keir Starmer, representing the very heart of the party's urban base. But local activists here describe a visceral attitude from voters on estates like Highgate New Town. Residents are citing a lack of basic maintenance, like leaking boilers and neglected food recycling, as the reason they are withdrawing votes from Labour. A 16-point swing in the capital today would perfectly mirror the scale of the historic losses seen back in 1968, when a similar drop in support left the party in control of only 3 of London's 32 councils. To maintain a national majority, a party typically builds a broad coalition that appeals to the center. But that focus on the middle can leave the party's ideological edges exposed to more targeted challengers. In London, that exposure is being exploited by a trend known as split-ticket voting. 6 in 10 Londoners now plan to divide their 3 council votes between different parties, rather than supporting a single slate. This behavior is dismantling Labour support in inner London boroughs, like Hackney and Lambeth, where the Green Party is now projected to emerge as the largest group on the council. This shift is driven partly by voters who feel the party's national leadership has drifted too far from their values on foreign policy and human rights, specifically regarding the conflict in Gaza. But Green Party leader Zach Polanski has also leaned into local realities. His party's surge is built on a grassroots effort to champion immediate concerns, like the damp and overcrowding found in the city's aging housing stock. When immediate local problems like moldy housing collide with national ideological disagreements, historic party loyalty is failing to hold the coalition together. As the Greens gain ground in the city centre, a second front is opening in the outer suburbs of Havering, Bexley, and Barking. In these areas, Reform UK is siphoning support from both the Conservatives and working-class Labour voters who feel economically marginalised by the government in Westminster. The threat is particularly significant in Barking and Dagenham, a borough that has remained under continuous Labour control since it was first created in the 1960s. When you add the Liberal Democrats holding their lead in the southwest and independent groups taking seats in the east, the map changes completely. This four-way pressure traps the incumbent, leaving them no room to expand as smaller parties target specific local grievances. The broad, catch-all party is struggling to survive in an environment where voters prioritize laser-focused local representation over national brand loyalty. After the votes are counted on May 8th, the political map of London will no longer be defined by the traditional dominance of a single party. Instead, up to a third of the capital's councils could fall into a state of no overall control. This occurs when no single party holds enough seats to govern on their own. This means local government shifts from executing a clear mandate to a system of fragile, shifting coalitions. Basic city services will depend on the ability of rival parties to strike deals ward by ward. Reporting from The Guardian indicates that senior Labour figures are now privately circulating data models from the firm Bombay, which predict a political earthquake. They warn that if the Prime Minister cannot hold his own progressive urban base, the party faces a threat to its very survival in its heartlands. The result of this fragmentation is a city where control of a council no longer rests with a single monolith, but instead comes down to the fine margins of